1 minute. Welcome to Raising Mums. We've got another episode for you today, and in today's episode we're going to be discussing homeschool planning. Homeschool Planning 101. Homeschool planning is a bit like Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. But in this episode of Raising Mums, I'm going to talk to you about why homeschool planning makes a lot of sense. We're going to go into the approach you need to take when you start planning your homeschool. And we're going to talk about why it's important, especially for new homeschoolers as well. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Gemma Elizabeth. I'm a homeschooling mum of 4 here in the UK. And I have this podcast that I do on a weekly basis here on Instagram and on Facebook, where my hope is to inspire mums to live with purpose and intention, to raise their children mindfully, and to empower mothers everywhere to own their lives and thrive doing it. So, like all the previous episodes, this will be uploaded after we've finished here onto YouTube, and it will be saved on IGTV, it'll be on Facebook, saved in the videos section for you. So if you can't stick around, don't worry, you can come back and review it later, and you can share it as well with your friends and anyone who you think might find it useful. And as we go along, please comment. I can see people already on Instagram are commenting. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. So feel free to comment. Feel free to say hi and talk to one another and answer each other's questions as well. Wa alaikum assalam, Nazia. I'm glad you're here. And we'll get into it soon. But before we get into the topic, I want to ask you a question. Can you tell me in the comments why you think homeschool planning is important? Let's see if we're on the same page here, if we're thinking the same way. Homeschool planning, can you name one benefit? Can you think of one benefit why we should be planning our homeschool? Pop it in the comments. And while you're doing that, let me introduce your sponsor, the sponsor for today's episode. It's me again. So as many of you are aware, I have released my first online course. It's called Launch Your Homeschool. You can see it there on Facebook. Launch Your Homeschool. It's an online course that is a step-by-step guide that will take you by the hand and walk you through the beginning stages of homeschooling, inshallah. It's a systematic approach to take you from being confused, a bit excited, but you are feeling overwhelmed and unsure, to a point where you're confident in your plans, you're excited to get started, you've developed your own curriculum, you have the tools in place and the systems in place in your home, and you're ready to go, so that you can keep homeschooling year after year. The lessons in Launch Your Homeschool are taught by pre-recorded video. They are not live sessions. They are pre-recorded videos, so when you enroll, you get a library of videos that are yours, you have lifetime access to them, and you can work your way through them at your own pace. You can dip into them whenever you want, and the lessons are kept short because I know that you're busy. I know that many of you have small children, many of you might be pregnant, or you're busy people. And so with that in mind, I intentionally kept the lessons short, but packed with value. Inshallah, they are packed with actionable advice, things you can really implement in your home. And because they're short, you can do them while you're folding laundry, you can do them while you're having your morning coffee, during nap time. That was intentionally done for you. I didn't, there's no point I throw the encyclopedia of homeschooling at you. That's only going to add to your feeling of overwhelm. And you don't need to know everything about homeschooling A to Z. It's not necessary to start. So this program is about giving you what you need to start and putting it in a systematic step-by-step approach just to make life easier for you. There will be some live aspects. The only live sessions that I'm going to do are Q&As. So the live Q&As will run throughout the year to give you ongoing support. So every term there will be a live Q&A session on Facebook and on Zoom, for those of you who are not on Facebook. So that's the only live aspect. So for those of you who are in countries that do not have very good internet connections, or you're living somewhere where the signal's not that strong, inshallah, you'll still be able to access those pre-recorded videos, the bulk of the course. And the live sessions, you may not be able to join in live, but they will be recorded as well. So inshallah, that will suit you as well. So, and if you enroll in Launch Your Homeschool today, there's an early bird discount, and that is only valid until the early hours of tomorrow morning, until 4 a.m. Monday morning. So you pray Fajr, and then after Fajr, the early bird discount ends. So basically, you have today. You need to enroll today to get that early bird discount. And the price of the early bird discount is £79. It goes up to £97 after that. And then enrollment actually ends next Sunday. So next week, the end Sunday, let me try that again. Enrollment ends next Sunday, midnight. Okay, so you have over a week to decide. If you're not sure today if you want to enroll, fine, but you still have a whole week, and then enrollment will close. And I plan to reopen it again, but not until the same time next year. So enrollment will then reopen summer 2021. I don't intend to keep opening this up throughout the year. It'll just be every summer, inshallah. And that is really so that I can devote my attention to the students who are in the program and give them 100% of my focus and energy and make sure that they succeed. So that's the plan. I'm getting a lot of questions coming in about the course, so I will go through them in a second. The modules on the course. So when you enroll, you'll get the first 4 modules. You'll get an introductory module. You'll get one that I've called fundamentals, which is basically like the foundations of homeschooling and what you need to build your homeschool upon. The next module is about crafting your own curriculum, picking out the right resources for your family, things that align with your values and the needs of your individual children. And then the next module is homeschool planning. So there's a whole module about that. And then after that, you'll get the next module at the beginning of August, and that's all about time management. You'll get the following module at the end of August, and that is about essential teaching tools. What essential teaching tools you need to homeschool. And then, so by the end of August, you'll have the full library of videos for you to use and to dip into whenever you want to. There'll be live Q&As, like I said. There's also an ebook included as a bonus in the course. And there's a bonus as a student community on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, that's a great place to go and connect with other homeschoolers and to share your victories, share your wins, and share ideas. You know, if you're in the process of picking out a curriculum, say you've picked out maths, but you're not sure, you want to see what everybody else is doing, you want to get advice, that's the place you can ask. If you're looking for a book on a particular topic, you can pop onto the student community and ask them, you know, what's everyone using for this? And it's a great place just to go and connect with other like-minded mums. And as I've mentioned before, the best part for me is that 50% of the profits of this course will be going to charity. So 50% of the profits go to charity. So not only are you getting a course that inshallah is going to benefit you and your family so much, you're actually giving sadaqah as well. And the charity is called the Olive Mount Project. And there is more information about that on my website. If you go to launchyourhomeschool.com, you can find out about that. So just a reminder before we get into this session, early bird discount ends 4 a.m. on Monday morning. So if you are going to be enrolling, if you know for sure you want to enroll, you might as well get the early bird discount. So enroll before 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, please. Otherwise, you have a whole week to decide if this is the right program for you. So head over to launchyourhomeschool.com to enroll. If you've got any questions about the course, pop them in the comments. I can see that people are already popping in comments, so that's excellent. If you have any questions about the course, just pop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them at the end. So people are giving me ideas. Why is it so important to plan your homeschool? What is the point of all of this? So let's see what you guys are saying on Facebook. So Nazia is saying, so we don't waste our time and we think about what we want to teach. Yes, excellent. So that you're really intentional about your time and you're working towards a higher purpose, towards goals that you have in mind. Excellent, brilliant, Nazia. If we don't have planning, we might spend the day doing nothing but watching TV. Yeah, you might, but planning, you can put plans in place, but if you don't actually implement those plans, you might still end up watching TV all day long. So if you're in that situation What you need to focus on is perhaps habit training and following through on your plans and your habits. So that might be something that you need to look into. Wa alaikum salam. Okay, somebody's asking some questions. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so Sarah's saying why you should have a homeschool plan is because kids will then have an idea of their routine, and the rest of the family too finds it easy to help along. Organization helps prioritize what's essential. Excellent. That's a really good point, actually. If you have a plan in place, other people can know what you're doing and can help. And sometimes if the kids know what's planned, they'll be more compliant and more excited. It depends on the personality of the children, but often, especially with younger children, if they know what the plan is for the day, they enjoy ticking all the things off. So yes, that's a brilliant point, Sarah. Okay, so I've just got some other questions that perhaps I'll have time to get to at the end. Has anybody got any ideas on Instagram? This is wobbling a lot. Okay. So Anissa is saying teaching religion and learning life skills is better than traditional public school. Yeah, I think I would agree with that, Anissa. Yeah, mashallah, I would agree with that. So Autism Inclusion is saying, with a planner, we are more organized and we can have better results in our homeschooling routine. Yeah, absolutely. If you have a plan, you will be more organized and get better results with your routine. Yeah, agreed. Because without a homeschool plan, you don't have a routine and you're just going on a whim. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Okay, so if we get into today's talk, and I will go through the questions more thoroughly at the end of the session, but I just want to get on with it now. Right, so there are two main purposes, there's two main benefits to planning your homeschool. Not everybody likes to plan. I am an advocate for it for these two reasons, and this is why I recommend it, especially if you're starting out. Homeschool planning gives you as a mum reassurance. It gives you confidence. It gives you security. It gives you a purpose. And when you're just starting out, you need that reassurance. You need that reassurance and confidence that what you have in place is going to provide your children with an excellent education. If you've planned your homeschool out correctly, and you know that what you have planned at least looks good, then if you're implementing that every single day, then you're going to have so much confidence in what you're doing. And that is really why I would say 90% of homeschoolers stop homeschooling. It's because they lose confidence in their ability. They're constantly questioning themselves. Are we doing enough? Or would they be better off in school? Those kinds of things which are all about self-esteem and confidence. If you have a plan in place, it gives you reassurance. And whether you've been homeschooling for years or you're new to this, these are questions that we all ask ourselves. But if you are following a plan and that plan has been well made, it will give you confidence. So just imagine that, you've been homeschooling for a few weeks, for a few months maybe, and things have been going well. You've been doing something every day, but you kind of just go off a whim. You kind of say, well, what should we feel like doing today? And you do that. You didn't really make a plan, but you were getting something done every day. But after a while, you start to worry because you can see holes forming in the education you're providing. Let's say they're really interested in science or they've got real affinity for science. So naturally, you do more science. And that is actually a good thing. I do recommend that you do that, but not at the cost of other subjects. And so you start to see that holes are forming in their education. You're neglecting their maths or their English. So you start to feel stressed, you start to worry, am I doing enough? And because you're worried that am I doing enough, you push them too hard. And pushing your children too hard is incredibly damaging, not only for you, but for them as well. It's like running a marathon. You wouldn't sprint the whole marathon. It's unsustainable. You can't keep pushing your child, constantly when you homeschool. It has to be, if you have a plan, then you know what bite-sized chunks to take, what you need to run every day. You don't sprint the whole way. And so when you have a plan, you're not pushing too hard. Maybe your children are starting to play up, you're starting to feel overwhelmed, and you start to consider sending them to school. All of those things, that worry, that stress, that worrying about them not progressing, seeing holes in their education, are we doing enough, considering sending them to school, that could all have been prevented if you had a proper plan in place at the beginning. Planning out what you're going to cover each week, or even at a minimum what you're going to cover each term, will give you reassurance. It's going to boost your confidence, which, like I said, your confidence is always in jeopardy, especially when you first begin homeschooling. It's going to give your children a very well-rounded education. If you're planning well, it's going to give you an education that is balanced. Like I mentioned, there is always a temptation to do less of topics that you don't like or that your children don't like, and more of what they do. And that is okay to an extent. In fact, that's a good thing, but not at the cost of other subjects. So you need to be intentional about that. You need to think, okay, my child loves science, so I'm going to intentionally give them more time with science, still incorporating the other subjects. When you homeschool plan, it also helps you to keep within a budget. We're all on a tight budget here, well, most of us. When you have a plan in place, when you see something pretty on Facebook or on Instagram that looks beautiful, the temptation is to just buy it because it looks so nice. You don't want your child to miss out on that. But when you have a plan, you're thinking, okay, where will that resource, where will that curriculum fit into what I have set up? And then you can decide, okay, yes, there is space in our homeschool to incorporate those maths manipulatives or whatever it is. Or you look at your plan and say, you know what, we have no time for that. Or we already have something that is meeting those needs already, so there's no need for that. So having a homeschool plan will save you a lot of money. And many of you who homeschool already know how much stuff you accumulate. So if you have a plan in place, it will prevent some of that. When you plan, you can also plan around things like Ramadan. You might want to take Ramadan off completely. And so if you are homeschool planning, you can make sure that before Ramadan starts, you are doing a little bit extra. After Ramadan ends, you can catch up. And of course, you can plan all the activities within Ramadan itself if you want to for your children. You can plan around travel as well, making sure that before you travel, before you go abroad, things are done and things can be done when you catch up. You can catch up when you get back. Also, if you're not planning, and this is a mistake that many people do, when they start to homeschool, they decide, okay, I want to homeschool, so I need to create a timetable. Do you remember at school you had those timetables? Monday through to Friday, 9 to 10 this, 10 to 11 this, etc. So that's what you do. That's what most people do. They decide, okay, let's make a timetable for the week. But when you're making that timetable, tell me, how do you decide how many times a week you do maths? How do you decide how many times a week you're going to do English or spelling or geography? You just decide off a whim, don't you? You just say, well, that's not that important, so we'll just do that once. That's very important, so we'll do that every day. That kind of planning is going to lead you into trouble because you might see holes in their education, because inevitably you'll realize that your planning was just done off a whim, was done with no real basis, and you'll start to doubt yourself, am I doing enough? So you have to use the correct method of planning, which I am going to go through in my course. There's a whole module on that, but I will spell it out a bit here. I will tell you what the principle is here, but for a full overview, there's a whole module in the Launch Your Homeschool course. So how do you develop a plan, a weekly plan, a daily routine? How much detail do you plan out? What you do not do is jump in, like we said, and just try and plan out the weekly timetable. What you do is you reverse engineer it, okay? This is really important. try and grasp what I'm saying here. Do not just jump in at the week plan. You want to reverse engineer. So what that means is you look at your goals for the year. You look at your reason for homeschooling. You look at what you hope to achieve in this year with your children. And then you work backwards to the week. So on Facebook, I'm going to put up an image. This image is actually something from my course. It's the model that we use to plan the whole homeschool, to plan your homeschool out. So I'm going to pop that up now for you and talk you through it. For you on Instagram, you can't see it, but you're very welcome to pop over to Facebook and have a look. Otherwise, I'm going to explain it for you as best I can, and then we'll just get on. So the image is basically 5 arrows, and it starts on the left side with year, working the way across year, term, week, weekly routine, and a daily rhythm. And so what most people do is they jump in at the weekly routine. They jump in here where they're trying to decide what they're going to do each day, or they might jump in on a daily basis and decide what we're going to do today. In fact, what you need to do is decide what you're going to do in the year. So you start with your year plan. So we have an entire module on, where's it gone? We have an entire module on curriculum choices for the year. And then you move into term, week, and weekly routine. So say, for example, you decide in the year you want your daughter to complete a maths program, Math Mammoth, 3rd grade Math Mammoth, let's say. And you know that in that program, there are 120 lessons. So then you move along to term. So you know each term, you're going to have to break down those 120 lessons into 40 lessons a term. And then you're going to have to break those 40 lessons a term into the weeks. How many lessons is that per week? And then how many lessons is that going to be in a day? So that's how you decide how many lessons in a week. Is from breaking down what you're going to cover in a year, breaking it down term by term, then breaking it down into the weeks. Say, for example, you have a book that is 12 chapters long, and you want them to complete that in the first term. The term has 12 weeks, so you know they need to read 1 chapter a week. Does that make sense? So that's how you decide what goes into your weekly schedule. That's how you decide what you do on a day-to-day basis. It's not off a whim. It's actually reverse engineering the whole process. And I go into all the details, give you all the worksheets of how to do that step by step in my program, Launch Your Homeschool. So I hope that makes sense to you. How do I get this off? Okay. So I hope that's given you an idea of why homeschool planning is so important, why I really recommend it, especially if you're starting out homeschooling. To have a plan will give you reassurance, it will give you a direction, and it will help you decide actually what to do on a day-to-day basis. And if you do it correctly, it will help you decide what to do on a day-to-day basis, not based off of a whim, not based off your experience at school. So I'm going to go through some of these questions now. Let me just have a sip of water. You know what, Instagram, what I'll try and do for you later on today is I will upload that image that we spoke about on Facebook. I'll upload that into my story so that you can have a look at that there, at what I was talking about reverse engineering the whole process from year through to daily routine. Inshallah, later on when I get back, I'll do that for you. Right, so let me go through Facebook questions and then I'll hop onto Instagram. Okay, that's a great question, Sarah. So Sarah has asked, I have 5 different age groups. Do I need to schedule all 5 individually? No, absolutely not. You do not need to. And I go into that in the course as well. I'm not sure if you've already enrolled, but what you do is you will look at your subjects that you're teaching and you will divide them into individual and group subjects. And so the group subjects you're going to be teaching, hopefully with all 5 children, if not all 5, with a group of them. Those will be done together And ideally, those would be done using the same book as well. If you follow a Charlotte Mason philosophy, that would be called a living book, a book that all the ages can take from and can benefit from. So no, you do not need to have 5 different schedules and be trying to juggle 5 things at once. That would be impossible. The only subjects really that your children need to be doing individually and have their own routine for, things like maths, reading, maybe Quran recitation. A lot of things can be done as a group. And when they are doing those individual subjects, they can still all be sitting at the table together, doing them together, even though they're working from different books. So you could have a maths time in your day, and all your children, all 5 of your children, will be sitting with their own individual maths curriculum, working through it. And then you might go to another subject where you work as a group. Say that might be history, and you read aloud from your living history book together, and then they narrate, or you do an art lesson, or whatever it is. So no, you do not have 5 individual schedules that you have to juggle. There is a way to bring them all together. And if you are enrolled in the program, there are multiple lessons that will help you through that. Plan. Okay. What should a typical, easy, laid-back homeschool day look like? I mean, there is no typical homeschool day at all, Sarah. I mean, really, what do you want your homeschool day to look like? I can tell you what my typical laid-back homeschool day might look like, if that will help. And on a day where we take it easy, when maybe we're wrapping up for the summer, like we are now, or maybe somebody's unwell, and so we're taking it easy, we would typically we'd still do our Quran, and we would still listen to Quran as well in the house. We might listen to an audiobook, and then we would do read alouds. So, if I'm reading aloud from history, or I'm reading aloud some literature, we'd do that on the sofa, and then the kids would play, and that would be an easy homeschool day for us. If you are planning, you have to plan in flexibility into your homeschool. There are ways to do that, and again, I go into that in my course. But if you're planning correctly, you will have gaps in your weekly plan, so that if somebody is sick, if somebody suddenly turns up at your door and you've suddenly got a guest, it's okay for you to drop what you were planning to do that day, because you've incorporated some catch-up time into your week. So again, planning allows for flexibility. Planning allows for giving you confidence and reassurance, but it also provides you with flexibility. Yeah, okay. So I hope that answered your question, Sarah. How do you manage to teach and supervise children of different ages? So, I mean, depending on the age of your children, Mariam, younger children, that's a whole nother kettle of fish. If you've got all of your children within the homeschool age, then it's just a matter of making sure they're all engaged. If they're engaged in what they're learning, if they're enjoying it, if they're being challenged but not challenged too much, if they're not annoying one another as well, then yes, you can do it. You can have them all in the same room working together. If things happen where that's not possible, then you can always send them off to their bedroom to do independent work upstairs. I think getting curriculum that children can work through independently, as well as curriculum where you're required to sit with them and support them, is a great way of doing that when you have multiple kids, to look for curriculum where they can work independently, whether that's an online program or books where they can read the instructions themselves and don't require your input. That's a great way to do that. Sister Azza has said, I've started using MEP Maths. What are your thoughts about it? I don't have personal experience with that, but I know it's a very popular maths curriculum in the UK for homeschoolers. So I've heard good things about it. That's called MEP Maths. I believe that's a free maths curriculum. Is that right? I've heard good things about it, but I don't have personal experience. Okay, so Selma has asked, great question, Selma. How do you do science Charlotte Mason style? Do you just read living books or do experiments? No, Selma, it's a misconception actually about Charlotte Mason, is that you just read books. No, you do read living books, but you also do hands-on experiments. Hands-on learning is a big part of the Charlotte Mason philosophy of education, but it's not what it might look like in other educational philosophies. So like a Montessori has a very specific look to it. Charlotte Mason is more about incorporating hands-on activities with things that are already available to you, things that are in your home or things that are out in nature. And so, yes, Selma, you do experiments in a Charlotte Mason science lesson. I would recommend, if you're looking for science lessons, to go to Sabbath Mood Homeschool. They have some excellent science curriculum that follow the Charlotte Mason philosophy, and they use living books with them alongside. So they are excellent. Okay, I'm going to hop onto Instagram now, and then if I get time, I'll come back onto Facebook. Charlotte, right, so I did, before this session, I did put up a call for questions, so I'm going to see if I can use this feature here. Okay, so we've got a question here. I'm going to start here. I don't know if hopefully you guys can see that. So somebody has asked, does your course also tailor for already home-edding mums that need help simplifying their schedule and routines? So my course, if you're already homeschooling and you want to revamp, to reboot everything, if you feel like things are not going as you had hoped, then yes, you're very welcome to join. I don't think there will be much repetition. Maybe the first module might be repetition for you, but the subsequent 5 modules, I think you could gain from. And so if you want to know more about time management, if you want to know more about the Charlotte Mason philosophy, if you want to improve the way you plan your homeschool, then definitely you are very welcome to join. It's not just for people who are new to homeschooling, but it has been designed for those people in mind. If you have any more questions about that, feel free to email me. I can give you a bit more information. Let's see what other questions we've got. So we've got this question, is that up? Yeah. Will you be offering the course again in the future, inshallah? So yes, like I mentioned at the beginning, I will be offering this course again, but not until next summer. So enrollment ends on next Sunday, in about a week's time. And then I'm not going to be reopening enrollment until next summer, 2020, just so that I can focus and give my all to the students who are in the program now and see them through and make sure I'm supporting them all the way through for a full year at least before I take on anybody else. That's my plan anyway, inshallah. Okay, let's see what else we have. Okay, so we've got a question here. What is the cost of the course? So as I mentioned again at the beginning, the cost for early bird, so that ends tonight. Early bird cost is £79. That increases Monday morning up to £97. So it's 79 now, increasing up to £97. Okay, next question. Oh. Okay, somebody's just asked me a question now. Do you have a limit on how many people you're taking on? No, I haven't got a limit. I don't anticipate it to be huge numbers. So no, there's no limit at the moment, no. Okay, so Shabnam's asked, would you recommend the course of my son is 5 and I'm still exploring home education? Would it be a benefit? Okay, so in terms of you're still exploring home education, I would not recommend this course for you if you haven't already decided that you want to homeschool. Because in this course, I do not go into the pros and cons of homeschooling. I'm not trying to persuade you to home educate your children. This course is made for people who have at least 90% decided that they're going to homeschool. They're pretty sure they're going to homeschool, and they want to know the nitty-gritty of how do I do it? How do I start? What do I do? What are the steps I need to take to get to that place where I'm homeschooling my children well? So it's not for those who haven't really decided whether or not they want to homeschool. In terms of the age of your son, 5 years old is fine. If your kids are of an age where you think you want to start formally educating them, then this program is great. If your children are younger, if they're preschool, toddlers, or even younger than toddlers, you're very welcome to join. You can use it as sort of preparation, if you like, and getting ready to homeschool. But just be aware that there's nothing in the program that covers preschool learning. There's nothing in the program that covers the early years. It's more for formal education onwards and preparing for that. Okay, hope that answers your question, Shabnam. Okay, so Sarah's asked, how do we know what books to use for our children's education? That's a great question. In the program, in Launch Your Homeschool, there is an entire lesson exactly on that, where I give you a checklist of what to look for. I give you, in fact, before that, there are lessons that lead, there's so many lessons, there's so much on that. Basically, what I recommend for you, Sarah, if you're not in the program, look for books that are called living books. Living books are books that speak to the heart of the child. They're books that often will tell a story. They're books that are written by an expert, by one expert, one person who's passionate about that topic, not a panel of anonymous ghostwriters. So if you're not sure, look up living books on Google, and that's the kind of books you want to be looking for your children. But there's so much in the program just about selecting the right resources. So if you're already enrolled, you can go to those videos and watch them. Okay, what else do we have? Is this Selma? No, Sima. So Sima's asked, will there be is it taught live? Will it be live sessions, or could I listen to the session when it best suits me? Yeah, so the whole program is pre-recorded. So you will get a library of pre-recorded videos to listen to when it suits you, to go through when it's convenient to you, as many times as you like. It's not like you get it just for a year. You have lifetime access to these, inshallah. So yes, you can listen to them whenever you want. There will be live Q&A sessions. But if you can't attend the live Q&A sessions, they're going to be recorded and then they'll be sent out to you or uploaded into the main program. Okay. What else do we have? Okay, great question. We've got, will you offer scholarships? Yes, there are scholarships available, but you have to apply for them. If you want to apply for a scholarship, email me, gemma@ourmuslimhomeschool.com, and either myself or my assistant Shaheen will get back to you, letting you know what the application process is. Okay. Okay, so I think you're only getting a part of this. So this sister says that she was in mind to start homeschooling her children, but last week they came out of school and found out that they're getting the best teachers next year. Well, and so now she's confused. So what I would say to you is, why were you homeschooling? Why did you want to homeschool your children? Was it because they were going to get bad teachers next year? If that's the case, well, now that they're getting good teachers, maybe they should go to school. But if your reason for homeschooling was not anything to do with having bad teachers, if it was something else, then does them having good teachers next year really change anything? It doesn't, does it? So think about what your reason for homeschooling was. What was your intention? Why are you so drawn to homeschooling? And see really if that makes any difference what teachers they have. Okay, I think this might be, oh no, there's quite a few. What does this say? Have you scheduled time for this homeschool? Okay, so I think what the sister means by this question is the course taught at specific times? No. Okay, the course is not taught at specific times. The lessons are pre-recorded. You watch them whenever it's convenient to you. You don't have to tune in at a specific time. The only aspect of the course like that are the question and answer sessions. But again, they will be recorded that you can watch them at your convenience. Your kids are 6 and 5. Yeah, the course should be fine for you, inshallah, if you're interested. Okay, another great question. So, do people living in other countries also benefit from this course? I have worked really hard to develop this program to be applicable to Muslim families all over the world. So the principles that are taught are principles. You apply them wherever you live, essentially. The only aspects that might not be applicable to you if you don't live in the UK or you don't live in the US or Canada are some of the resources that I recommend. That's the only aspect. You might not be able to get hold of them, but the rest of the course, the lessons themselves, yes, they will be applicable to you, inshallah. It's, yes. So yes, Yes, inshallah, you can benefit from the course. Okay. I think I need a coffee. Goodness me, there's so many questions coming in. Okay, again, somebody's asking, how much does the course cost? £79 is the early bird price. That ends tonight, and then it goes up to £97. So if you know that you want to do this program, that you want to launch your homeschool, then please enroll tonight before the price goes up. The price goes up tomorrow morning, Monday morning, and it goes up to £97. And then enrollment ends Sunday night, next Sunday. Okay, I think that's all of those questions. Let's have a look. Oh, okay. So Salima is saying, where can we apply? If you go to launchyourhomeschool.com, it will take you to a page that details all the information about the course, what's in the course, what the modules are, what the individual lessons are. It will even tell you, it'll break it down for you, who is this course right for and who is this course wrong for. So keep scrolling down that page, read all of that. There's frequently asked questions. Some of the questions that you asked here, they're up there as well. So read through the frequently asked questions as well. And then there's a place there where you can click and it'll say enroll now, it'll say early bird price, and you can click there. For any of you who have had issues with the website, I think most people who have enrolled have been fine. There's been no issues for 90% of people, but there have been some people who've had issues. And I think for those, there might be an issue on your end, something to do with your privacy settings or something like that. So if you have any issues, just email me and I will make sure that you get into the program before the early bird price ends. Just email me in time before Monday morning. And we'll sort it out, make sure you get into the program if you are one of those few people who's having problems. But for the vast majority of people, they're able to enroll through the website, launchyourhomeschool.com, or if you're already on our Muslim homeschool, there's a little tab at the top that says courses, and you can click there and it'll take you through. So Latifa has asked, does the course help to narrow down the wealth of resources available on the internet and what best to use? Yes, it does. It does that. It does that and some, because I know that that's an issue. I hear from you day after day, so many people telling me, I don't know where to start. There's so much online. There's so much information. Everybody's doing it different ways. I've gone on YouTube and I'm confused. Like, what do I pick? What's best for me and for my family? So yes, the course goes into that, picking the right resources, selecting a curriculum for you and for your situation, for your family's needs, and importantly, that is in alignment with your values. That is a very important part of selecting anything that you do for your homeschool, is that it aligns with your values. So Nadia has asked, do you read the books first before reading them to your kids, or do you just give them on their own? It depends, Nadia. If it's been recommended to me by somebody I know or by somebody who I follow online who I trust, then I will just give it to them to read. If I don't have that reassurance, then I will try to at least skim read through it. It's very rare that I would ever just give a book that I don't know anything about to my child. In fact, I don't think I do that at all. I do usually at least skim read what I'm giving to my children, especially if it's a modern book, to be honest with you. Okay, let's keep going through these. Will you be able to put the link of the site you mentioned? Okay, yeah. Can somebody type that for me so I can keep answering questions? It's launchyourhomeschool.com. Can somebody type that in onto Instagram for me? Launchyourhomeschool.com. It's also on my profile on Instagram. If you just go to my profile, it'll say course, homeschool course, and you just click there and it'll take you through. Anissa is saying, no one is a better teacher than parents, in my opinion. MashaAllah. Okay. Okay. How do we know what books to use? Exactly, Sarah, it is in the course. So somebody's asked, what do you follow for a literacy curriculum? So for literacy, personally in our homeschool, we use Ambleside Online, majority. There are some that are not suitable for Muslims, that are more for the Christian homeschooler. But for the vast majority, we use Ambleside Online for our literacy choices. Yes, so for science, somebody's asked me to repeat it. It's Sabbath Mood Homeschool for science. sabbathmoodhomeschool.com. Her name is Nicola. she has a podcast as well. She's part of the Delectable Education podcast, which is excellent as well. You should definitely check that out if you're interested in Charlotte Mason homeschooling. And so this is her curriculum that she's developed for science. So Latifa has asked, is it difficult to manage a young family with the eldest just starting to read and write and a baby? Are you asking me, or do you have do you have that situation yourself? I'm in that situation. So I have a baby, I have a child who's learning to read and write, and I have older children as well. And it's definitely not easy, but with the correct tools in place, the correct systems in place in your home, it can be done. It's all about time management, and time management is not about trying to cram more into your day. Time management is about simplifying. It's about cutting out what's unnecessary. It's about delegating what you can delegate, automating what you can automate, and then really just making the most of your time. It's definitely not about squeezing more and more in. How many years do you homeschool your child? Do you ever send them to school or college in the future? How do they sit exams? So for me, how many years do you homeschool? So I've been homeschooling my children since the beginning. They've never been to school. They did go to nursery for a short time, but they've not ever been to school. Do I plan? So, and yeah, I don't know how long I'm going to be homeschooling for. I talked about this in last week's episode if you want to check that out, about my plans for the future. But yes, you can. If you homeschool your children, they can sit exams. In the UK, what you do is you enroll them into an examination centre, a private examination centre, or sometimes schools will open themselves up to private candidates. They become a private candidate and they sit it privately, essentially. But the only issue there is you have to pay per exam. So the cost then is on you for them to sit. But yes, if you homeschool, your children can sit A-levels, they can sit GCSEs, but you will have to pay for the individual exams yourself. I'm not sure how it works in the US in terms of payment, but I know that in the US that they can sit the SATs, etc. That is possible for you in the States. Okay, so I think we're going to end the questions there. Okay, so somebody's asked, before we end, because I think this is an important question, somebody here has asked, is the course appropriate for delayed kids? The course is about you as a parent preparing yourself and preparing your homeschool from start to finish so that you can go into August, go into September with confidence that you have a good plan in place, that you have the tools you need to homeschool well, that you have systems in place in your home to make life easier for you, to make your life as a family, homeschooling family, happy. So there's nothing specifically about children who are delayed. There's nothing specifically about any special needs. But that doesn't mean the course isn't right for you. So take a look at the website and have a look through the breakdown of the course and see if it's something that would suit you. Okay. So before we end, I just want to reiterate that if you are interested in this homeschooling program, oh my gosh, I need a coffee. If you're interested in this homeschooling program, my friends, go to launchyourhomeschool.com before the early bird prize finishes finishes tonight. It finishes 4 a.m. Monday morning. So head over there if you're interested and sign up. Read through the frequently asked questions. Have a look through that section that says, is this course right for you? Is this course wrong for you? Because I would hate for any of you to enroll and find that it's not the right fit for you. And if that does happen, I have incorporated a 7-day money-back guarantee. Guaranteed, you will get your money back if you enroll and you find that the course is not right for you within the 7 days of enrollment, and then you will get all your money back. But check out that section on the website. Remember, 50% of what's made from this course is going to charity as well. So yes, launchyourhomeschool.com. Please go and check it out. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me here today. I am going to go and get that cup of coffee now. I'll be back again at the same time next week, Sunday, 10 a.m., to discuss another homeschooling topic with you. I hope you will join me. Thank you again for joining me here today. Have a great day, everybody. Assalamu alaikum.